Pin.
Oh, that's just awful. That's
Do you think they?
horrible.
It's fine. It probably peaked, and nobody's gonna hear it.
No, it definitely didn't peak. It only got to the
Mm-mm.
yellow on that. I want to
No.
apologize to everyone out there, just in general for Isaiah, just for him.
Don't you ever talk to me like that again.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to our precious dear audience who
They
values
knew
their
what this
ears.
was. They knew what this was from the start.
That's just a
But
lot of people
when I
listen to us
talk
because
to
we
you,
have really
I'll
nice,
keep...
we have nice intonations, and it's
I don't know about you, but I'm
relaxing
basically a voice actor, so yeah,
and
I know
smooth,
my worth.
and then you just come out swinging for the fences.
Hey, if we don't keep them on their toes, then they're gonna get used to us and get bored, and we don't want them to get bored.
Right.
Jonathan.
I don't think we should debase ourselves and go
So then,
down to
should are you? Do you want
loud does
us?
not equal funny. All right, that
Do
was the
you? Would you
vibe back
like
in
us?
2020,
Excuse me.
2012 maybe.
Excuse me. Hello, I'm speaking. I
Uh-huh.
have the talking stick.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to start over? Would you like to do an intro? I'll let you introduce the podcast. I will sit here like a good little boy, like a good little black boy, and not
Uh-huh.
say a word.
It's too late now.
Master.
It's too late now. We've started. We've begun. So all we
Hmm.
can do now is go, I apologize, everybody. Isaiah had a
Welcome
lot
back to
of
John Talks to Lamb.
he had a lot of cereal this
I'm your
morning.
host, Lamb. I didn't
He's
have any cereal,
he's
thank you. I
kind of
don't eat
sugared up.
breakfast.
He's on a sugar high, and he will be.
I'll show you sugar when I knock the lights out of you.
All right, okay.
I'm sorry. I have a lot of misplaced aggression right now.
I know,
Some things
clearly,
have
yeah.
happened in this last week or
He
so.
got dunked on like less
Hey,
than a day ago, and now he's taking it out on me. What did I do to deserve this?
you're the one who dunked on me.
All I did was bully you for the better part of 10 years.
Yeah,
Why is it my fault now?
you are the problem.
Well,
And you know what
naturally,
else?
mm-hmm,
You're stinky.
that is accurate. It has been 3 full days since I have showered.
That's actually gross.
Well, it's not really my
John,
fault. I've
no, no,
been.
no, 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 no. Let's
Mhm,
discuss this. Let's talk
mhm.
about this.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? It's been 3 days.
Well,
Explain yourself.
today's Sunday. I guess technically it's been 2.5 days because
Explain yourself.
because I try and get in 2 to 3 hours of exercise during the week, and sometimes those days, sometimes I burn out early. Well, no, sometimes I finish those 2 to 3 hours earlier than I need to during the week, so I have a longer period of rest, right? That
Mm-hmm.
happened to fall. What is today? Sunday. So it's Sunday morning. So it would be Saturday night, Friday night. So then Thursday, right? I didn't do anything. No, it has been 3. It's been 3 days, yeah. Because Thursday,
All I hear is that you smell.
I
You
actually
smell
don't.
bad.
Well, it's hard to tell yourself, but I
Oh,
can't
I can smell you
smell.
through the microphone.
I can't
It's
smell myself,
stinky.
so that generally means that other people can't smell me.
No, that's not true at all. Not true at all.
Well, it's bad when you can smell yourself.
Yeah, but if we have been smelling our own self for the entirety of our lives, oftentimes we go nose blind to it.
That's true, yeah. But no, I know
No,
when
you're
there's
stinky.
it's possible that I am a little bit stinky, but that's the
That's
good
true.
news.
That's more than not.
See, I don't have to take a shower until we finish this, really, because I won't be
But
interacting with anybody.
you're gonna go be stinky DM.
Yes, well, theoretically, it's possible that because my activity later today is playing D&D, but of course usually that means people come over, but we might be having a fully remote session, and if that's the case, I won't shower until we
Take
until
a
we finish.
shower, you stinky boy.
Well, the problem is that
What are you, pheromone maxing?
I can like feel my hair, so I know it's getting to the point where I need to shower.
Wait, what does
Because,
that even mean?
well, like I don't know. Everybody is sort of different, right? But when I don't shower for like 2 days, right, the oils in my hair,
How often do you do this?
and not that often.
I don't
Especially
know.
these days, because I
Mhm.
see people a lot more.
Yeah.
This is probably the longest I've gone for a while, which is why I'm kind of having fun with it, even though I don't really like it that much.
You're having fun with your own funk.
Well, because
I guess that's a new meaning to love yourself.
I should have showered yesterday, probably,
No,
but
definitely.
I didn't need to because I didn't interact with anybody, beyond talking from a distance to people.
Mhm. Okay.
If I'm ever in a situation where I'm in an enclosed space with somebody, or I have to hug someone, there has been a shower. I would never
When have you
inflict
ever hugged somebody?
I would
You don't
never
do that.
inflict myself on somebody else. However, in this case, I've gotten away with it for 3 days.
You've never hugged me before. What's that about?
Well, we haven't had a need to.
I love hugs. What are you talking about?
Well, as someone that doesn't initiate hugs, there you go.
I'm pretty sure I've asked you for hugs before.
That's very possible.
No, it's not possible. It is a certainty.
Well, you know what? Uh,
Just say you
if
hate
it
me.
I'm sure it's probably happened then at some point. I'm sure there's been an awkward bro hug or maybe a you asked for it and then I went, "Sure, champ," and then I punched you in the shoulder. That's
that sounds
basically a
accurate.
hug. It's basically a hug.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a manly hug?
It's what heroes do.
Oh, I see. My fault. So you're a hero now?
Yes, and one that does take showers on a very regular basis.
No,
However, at this
yeah.
moment,
Contrary to popular belief.
yeah, I just want everybody listening to this to imagine stink. That's what's going on. Stink, stank, stunk
I'm
like
just
the Grinch.
imagining you're sitting at your computer, you've
Mm-hmm.
got your headphones on, you got
Mm-hmm.
your mic there, and the
Mm-hmm.
stench lines are just fuming out.
If it was hotter, probably. Luckily, like I said, haven't exercised in 3 days and haven't really sweated in 3 days.
Good thing nobody's going to your room anytime soon because your room probably smells like
Exactly.
you, and that smells gross.
No, that's
Do you even
mhm.
use candles
He-
or wallflowers?
you better believe it. I do have a candle and I have a backup candle.
What does it smell like?
Oh, that's a sandalwood. At least the one
Oh,
that I
sandalwood
did
is pretty
have
good.
was sandalwood. The next one actually smells even cooler because I got it's a subscription service, right? That they once a month they send me a candle
Mhm.
because I got sick and tired of even when even when you do shower every day, but when you work out every day, and
Yeah,
you take your sweaty stinky clothes and you put them in the hamper.
they get the room smelling a little funky.
Yeah, if you don't wash like every other day your clothes, the room smells like sweat anyway, which is awful. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to just either
Well, I
learn to
guess
live
that's
with it or
if
you have to wash clothes every other day. And I don't have a need to do that when I'm just washing 2 sets of clothing, right? It's
yeah.
kind of a waste of water.
Another thing though is I think you and I are at a disadvantage when it comes to that because we are not exactly in places that uh because my dirty clothes stay in my room because I share space with three other people.
Right.
If I had like a whole house to myself, I would have my dirty clothes in the laundry room or the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah. I can confirm that my bathroom is not large enough to put stuff in. There's no
Yeah.
floor space in there, and the laundry room is full of laundry stuff.
Yeah, like at my last apartment, when I lived at Uptown, I had I had basically a walk-in closet and all my dirty clothes would just stay in there. So like my room, if it ever stunk, it was just because I was depressed and I didn't take a shower.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But I'm no
Yeah.
longer depressed. So it's okay.
That
But
we like
yeah,
that. We like that. Yeah.
yeah. I also sweat semi regularly, so that doesn't help. Like it just
Yeah.
happens.
Well, that's just the nature of your job and slash existence.
Yeah, I just sweat easy and people are often question it. They're like, "Why are you sweating?" I'm like, "I don't know. I literally just start sweating from I can just be walking on a brisk autumn day and then I'll come back and you'll be like, "Why are you sweating?" Because that's just what I do. My body sweats very easily.
Yeah. I
and
mean,
it
I could tell you that there
sucks.
have been multiple, like, usually I try and go on a couple of short walks throughout the day because otherwise I'm very sedentary, nature of my job, unfortunately. But I'll go
Yeah.
on these walks, right? 10 to 12 minutes. At around the 8-minute mark is when I start sweating. And I know that because that's about how long I've looked up exercise science, right? A lot of
Mhm.
bro science going on. But some people suggest that the more efficient way to exercise, or one of the potential more optimal ways to do it, is instead of going on one long walk, if you go on a series of shorter walks, your body has to warm up, right, and sort of lubricate itself going from nothing to movement. But once you are in the lubricated movement state, it's easier to move. So if you get to that state and then stop, your body is basically having to expend more energy to get you into active mode, right?
Mm-mm.
So if you just do that, say you go for 6 10-minute walks or one 60-minute walk, you'll burn slightly more calories doing 6 10-minute walks than
It's
you
like
would
you're
doing
conditioning
160.
yourself.
Conditioning yourself?
Yeah, like you're conditioning your body to for these like shorter walks, you know?
Mhm.
Or like you're conditioning. I kind of see it how like some people they want to just get they're like I'm gonna lose weight and they just try to jump straight into the gym, and then like they'll do some like intense stuff and then they'll quit because their body's not used to that kind of effort and
Yeah,
exercise.
they burn out. Mhm.
They burn out real fast. But if you start off like in smaller bursts, you gotta get your body used to like movement and exercising and whatnot. So then whenever you do like more longer or like harder workouts, it'll like be used to it more.
Yeah, I imagine it would be a good sort of transitionary experience getting from no exercise to minimum exercise to you exercise too much, right? You got to find that sort of that middle ground.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I what's it called? Because like I, what was I about to say? Oh no, so at my job that I work at now, it is a high rise facility, so it is basically built like a hotel. Is what I keep telling
Sick.
people because it is basically built like a hotel. At my previous two maintenance jobs, we've had several buildings. The first one we had 10 buildings. The second one we had 14, but they were spread out throughout the property. So we all had golf carts. So I didn't need to have to worry about walking except for to go up and down the stairs, which
Sure.
sucked. At this property, the amount of times I'm outside is very minimal unless I'm going to the pool or one of the outside units, which those units rarely have any issues. So I'm
Mhm.
mostly inside the building. I also push around a push cart, so it also has elevators, thank the Lord. But
Nice.
I'm walking for a good maybe 40% of my day, and like my first week I was there, good Lord, I was struggling real bad.
Yeah, oh, I imagine.
But now like this is when this is why I was even brought up the whole like I sweat from just walking. I'll have to walk around like a whole pretty much the whole side of the building to get to one apartment, and I'm like, well, this is easy. I just sweat because I just sweat easily. Maybe like if I go on a walk, give me like 2 or 3 minutes and I'm already sweating. Or like you'll see like droplets of sweat and you'll be like, why are you sweating? And I'll be like, I am because I don't even feel it.
Yeah.
It's weird. I used to
Yeah.
think it was because I was overweight and like my size, but I think it's actually like a medical thing at this point. Because even when I was at my most fit and like in shape, it was still a thing that happened.
I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. We only think it's, I don't really like sweating that much because I spend a lot of time inside.
Yeah,
And, showering, as fun as showering is, it's like a time sink that, if you have to do it every day, it's a
yeah.
real issue, it's a real annoying problem. Some people really like showers, but
I enjoy showering. That's my detox time. That's my what's it called? Um that's the time when I can just like decompress. There we go. That's my decompression time. My roommates hate it because I have concerts in my shower and I am the
oh,
artist,
yeah,
but
of
they'll be fine.
course. Mhm. That's why I don't really like doing like I was saying, the 12-minute, 10-minute walks. They're fine. They're, I understand the science behind it, but I it's just long enough for me to start sweating. And at that point, then it's like, all right, well, we've basically exercised today. Now we have to take a shower. If I don't do that, I don't have to shower. It's that simple.
Yeah, I
So then,
suppose.
therefore, you can go 3 days without showering.
I don't know about 3. I mean, there's definitely been several times where I've been like, "Dang, I didn't really sweat today, and I'm tired. I'm not gonna take a shower." But then,
Yeah,
like, the next day, I'm like, I even if I didn't sweat too much, I do need to take a shower. Because also, I think just BO is a prominent issue sometimes I have. Um, but
sure. Yeah.
I also did I changed my body wash and my stuff because it was very like very fragrant heavy. It was all strawberry and it smelled good at the time, but
Hmm.
I think it like messes with my BO and makes it a lot stronger.
Yeah, a lot of people have to worry about, I don't know if this is the right way to describe it, but like the pH of their body.
Yeah,
Some stuff will definitely mess with that. That might be more of a female problem,
very likely.
but I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm sure it also, impacts it's just like the same that, when you use deodorant, right? And then you're using like the antiperspirant stuff,
yeah,
everybody's affected by that aluminum. Everybody is affected by that scent. Sometimes people's body react to it poorly.
yeah. Absolutely.
So it
I
checks
uh
out.
I haven't used gel deodorant in such a long time because in middle school I did, and it wasn't masking anything.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I also was led to believe as a kid that deodorant was to help you, not sweat. That's a lie.
Right.
That's a bold faced fucking lie. Uh, cause good lord, I thought I sweat bad and stink now. Middle school me, I feel so bad for him. He definitely got bullied really bad. Cause
Oh, yeah.
the tropes in the movies where it's like, oh, we're hitting puberty, everybody's gonna stink or whatever. We need to
Mhm.
put on deodorant. I was that kid. I was the stinky kid.
Yeah, yeah.
I smelled like a Smash tournament.
That's that's oddly specific and horrifying.
It is, and it's even more horrifying if I'll talk to my friends that I grew up with, and they'll bring it up,
Oh,
and I'll
they
be like,
haven't
"Why?"
forgive they at some
They
point, you
haven't.
gotta forgive and forget, man. Give me a
Listen, I
break.
think at that point it's they're attacking me for traumatizing their nose glands, their scent
Yeah,
glands.
I guess that's fair.
But also, now or looking back and realizing why, it was for various things. One of them could have been because of like the fragrances of the soap I was using, but also I learned later on in life that powder deodorant works for me a lot better than the gel
Oh,
does.
yeah, okay.
So I've been using the powdered one ever since. But I also was extremely self-conscious as a child of my body and weight.
Sure.
So remember how you said whenever you have like sweaty clothes and they smell up a room or whatever?
Yeah,
So imagine middle school Isaiah, the little not actually that chubby boy, but kind of chubby based on the standards of that time period.
sure.
Uh he was just a little chunky boy. He was insecure in his body and his weight. So and the thing about it is we try to hide it all the time, like our size, but it's like everyone can see it. You're not the only one you're hiding it from
Mhm.
is yourself.
Right, yeah. You talk about, like,
Which
wearing the
I
big baggy shirts and,
big baggy shirts,
uh-huh.
pulling down the shirt to cover your stomach, sucking
Mhm,
in your
mhm.
gut, things like that. Yeah, yeah. So I would do all that. We also had uniforms, so like it made it a little easier to be like, oh, cool, I can get close. But
Okay, yeah.
for my gym clothes, I never took them off. I wore them under my school clothes. Uh,
So you were just double
I was always at
double
all
wrapped the
times
entire time.
double wrapped, and then whenever I went to gym, I never changed out of them. So here you have this little recently starting puberty boy covered in sweat and sweaty clothes underneath his school clothes
Yeah.
for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's,
yeah.
you're
Not to
inflicting other
mention,
people with pain.
as again I look back, I realize that my hygiene skills were not good at all.
Sure, yeah, you were
I
in middle school, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to be one of the Axe kids, but my mom refused to let me be, so that's kind of funny. Uh, but No, I definitely struggled with keeping my hygiene good because I didn't like taking showers. And I do remember there was a few times growing up where my mom told me to take a shower, and I would turn on the water, and then I would just sit there on the toilet, not doing anything, just sit there for a good like 10 minutes, just like keeping myself preoccupied, turn off the water, and then get out and acting like I took a shower. But parents aren't stupid.
Uh-huh, yeah, you walk right back out and they go, "I still see the sink lines."
No, no. Like, I remember, like, she was like, "Yeah, I know you're not like, I'm not stupid, right?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You're going in there and you're just turning on the water and that's it." And I was like, "What do you mean? No, that's not what's happening." I thought I pulled a fast one, I'm not gonna lie. So then I had to
Uh-huh.
force myself to take showers. But, even then, I I'm not blaming my mom, but I don't think I was ever properly shown how to take a shower as a kid, outside of like, "Oh, your mother bathed you as, like, a small child," and then all of a sudden now I'm bathing myself. I know that I have to put soap on, and I know I have to wash it off.
Yeah, there's, I mean, I think there were a couple of things, that people don't really you don't think about getting taught until
Yeah,
later down the line.
taking a shower, brushing your teeth, a
Yeah,
lot of hygiene stuff.
if it is a lot of hygiene stuff. I feel
Like,
like we're outing our parents here for for
I'm
not
not listen,
properly teaching
I'm
us.
not blaming my mom, I swear to God. I'm not blaming my mom
Yeah?
for my lack of hygiene,
I'm
but
sure that I'm certain at some point I was taught. I don't know if I don't remember it, but I've
yeah,
definitely sort
it's
of
very
had
likely
to.
we don't remember because we
Yeah.
were just young, but
Mhm.
as, time goes on and you're getting older, you're like, "I could probably make shortcuts to this if I just cut this part out and I do this
Right.
differently," you know? I don't know. That's just something I just thought about.
Yeah.
I was a stinky
Oh,
kid,
yeah.
and I feel bad. And let me tell you, the summer after, excuse me, the summer after I graduated high school was bad because I
Mhm.
was just rotting in my room. Because everyone's out doing their stuff. I didn't really go out too much. I stayed in my room playing games. I was
Sure.
fresh out of high school in my peak gamer performance mode.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Hunched over, slumped, no showering.
yeah,
I
I
got you,
think
yeah.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and this is after me judging you for not showering for 3 days. I think the longest I went without a shower that summer was a full week.
Uh, yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
And mind you, this is still peak not peak stinky, but this is still, you know, adolescent puberty stinky teenage kid era.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
thankfully my room was away from everyone else's room. Everyone else's rooms were upstairs. I got the master bedroom downstairs at this
Okay.
point. And so my my nana also just never came into my room. But the times that she did, I got yelled at for for being smelly,
Oh my god.
and being lazy, not doing my laundry and stuff like that. And I was just like, I want to see
Mhm.
how long I can go.
Oh my yep. Yeah,
Yeah, it
that is
was
out of high school mentality for sure.
yeah. But we're not like that anymore, thank God. I mean, there's days where I'll
Mm.
come home from work and I'll just be like, I need to take a shower, and then I'll pass out and fall asleep. And then I'm like, I'll take a shower tomorrow.
Yeah, it's I to for me, it's kind of a double-edged sword because it's like, if you don't take a shower, right, you don't use any product, right? You don't have to worry about running out of shampoo and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, it's like in the long term, the less showers you take, the less money you spend. But you have to balance that with not being as stinky as possible. And if you
See, at
don't
the
shower, like
same
at this point,
time,
well,
mhm,
hold on. At this
okay.
point, having not showered for 3 days, right? I'm now going, well, now I kind of have to wash my bed sheets.
Yeah.
At least like the pillows that I'm using, that would just be the smart thing to do because I don't want to start getting acne.
Yeah. I need to wash my bed sheets too.
Yep.
It's
It's a
been a hot
never
minute.
ending
It's a terrible
cycle
cycle for
of,
sure.
yeah, of keep it clean, but don't keep it too clean because otherwise you're like wasting, you don't need to
Wasted
wash your bed
resources,
sheets every
but
single
don't
day.
let it get too bad because
Yep.
then, yeah, it's a slippery.
And I
Excuse
think
me.
everybody has to figure it out because everybody's body is different, right? Like you
Absolutely.
sweat after 2 minutes, I sweat after eight. That
Yeah.
may I don't know if that is I like that, but you're probably more evolved in terms of humanity. Because, like,
I don't know.
you can go outside and you're lubricated in 2 minutes. I can't do that. I have to go, like, the full 8 to 9 minutes, then I'm good to go.
I mean, I guess another thing to take into consideration, John, is unlike you, I'm covered in hair.
Just because I'm slightly less hairless, that doesn't mean
Slightly
anything.
less, John. I can see your skin anytime I look at you. I don't see any hair except for on your head.
That's not my fault.
I didn't say it was your fault. I'm just saying you're a bald baby, and
Oh,
I'm a Sasquatch.
just because I
Not compared
can't
to
grow a
Jacob, though.
beard doesn't
I'm not even,
mean
I'm not even talking
anything.
about beard. I'm talking about body hair in general.
I mean, yeah, but my family, well, not all of my family. My mom is a lot more like me than my
Hmm.
brothers are.
I see. So you didn't get the hairy genes.
Nope, nope.
You see, oh my gosh. Let's try that again.
Wow, wow.
You've been evolving, and I've been devolving. My ancestors were clearly in
Depends on
colder
what we're going
climates.
for.
Actually, let me rephrase that, because
Uh-huh.
if you take our races into consideration, uh,
Okay, sure. Okay, all
no,
right. Where are we going with this?
oh yeah, I look like a monkey. No,
Oh my god.
no. But yeah, I guess you could say, uh, I'm almost like a werewolf. This is a segment change. This is just to get you ready.
Oh, ooh,
Almost like a
okay.
a
A
werewolf.
werewolf, yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm closer to being like a vampire.
Whoa.
And speaking
It's
of which, what a solid
what a solid
segue
segue.
into the one topic that I had really planned for today.
What's that topic, John?
Well, we got to rewind slightly. I'm
Oh,
sure
okay.
everybody remembers my Valentine's Day experience.
What
I
happened on
watched
Valentine's?
the first Twilight movie on Valentine's Day
On
because I thought
Valentine's.
it was a nice Valentine's activity to do.
He was wrong.
I
Clearly.
didn't realize. Well, first of all, I knew it was a saga, right? I didn't realize there were 5 movies.
Yeah.
All I knew was like there was a first one, and then I kind of vaguely remembered them doing like a part 1 and part 2. Now, they released okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I have now watched, as of yesterday, I have finished watching the Twilight Saga, all 5 episodes. I have some gripes. Gripes might be the right word with it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let me begin by saying this. They
You
released
have to do the sandwich. You have to
yeah,
do good, critique good.
no. Well, okay.
Oh no.
There may be 1 or 2 good things. All right. Okay, I will give Stephanie Meyer credit. That's the lady that wrote the original ones. All right. She had some cool ideas. Unfortunately, all of those cool ideas were just I don't know, ignored so that she could focus on I guess, the romance aspect of it. I don't
Mhm.
understand how someone could make vampires and werewolves so boring. I know that this
Uh,
franchise appeals to a lot of people because I've seen I sorry, not a lot of people, a specific demographic of people this really appeals to. I've seen the reviews. There are 1-star ratings, there are 3-star ratings, and there are 5-star ratings. It is one of the most, like, widely rated not wide varied. The ratings are so varied because there's people that watch it and then I'll, like, see the review on it after I've watched it, and they go, "Oh, this is such a great movie. This is one of my comfort movies," and I get it. This was 2008 to 2012. I guess 2008 was not really a great year for everybody, but,
I mean, that was
for
like
the
the beginning of the recession.
uh-huh, yeah, that was the stock market crash, I believe, or the housing market crash. But they released these 5 movies every single year for 5 years, right? Iron Man
Wait, it was
released
consecutively every year?
yes, every year.
I didn't know that.
Oh 08, oh 09, 10, 11, and 12 was the very last one.
Oh my god.
I had no idea they released them that fast, but when you watch them, you can tell they were releasing them that fast. Mainly because, okay, one of my biggest gripes, and I am going to piss off some Twilight fans here
Uh-oh.
because, oh, these movies are like 2 hours long. So little happens in 2 hours, you'd be amazed. Every okay, let me start with the first movie. Okay, the first movie's not bad. It's a solid kind of flingy romance where you it's like a girl falling in love with a vampire. Pretty sweet. There's no werewolves even in the first movie. They kind of vaguely hint at it with like a story that one of the characters tells about how the vampires that live in the area are
Yeah.
kind of the rivals. Have you seen the Twilight? Any of the Twilights?
Yeah, I've watched them all. It's been a
Okay.
while since I've watched them, but I've
Okay.
watched them
So,
all.
well, I may be pissing you off then at a certain
Oh,
point,
no,
depending on
listen,
how you feel about it.
I genuinely only like to make memes about it,
Hmm.
and, like, make jokes about it to my friends because some of my friends have been really into it. Like, one of
Oh
my old
boy.
coworkers,
Uh huh.
uh, for some I think because we had talked about how we had, like, Twilight or whatever, and so then she would just be like, "Hey, Loca," because, in the first movie, "Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?" And it just became a running joke
Oh
that we
gosh.
are just in love with Twilight to each other. But I think she likes it a far more than I actually do. But I just love sending her like Twilight memes or like behind the scenes things or like deleted scenes. But she still refers to me as Loca to this day.
Wow. Okay. That's okay. So you have you have much more of a relationship with this franchise than I do.
Yeah.
Do
Also, my mom thoroughly enjoyed my mom was really into the movies too.
Oh, okay, okay, sure. Why do you think the people that
Mm-hmm.
like Twilight?
Uh, Angsty teens. That's
Angsty teens.
a lot of them were angsty teens when it came out, or like in that prepubescent, like preteen era. And we didn't really have any because this was also when this series came out. This is when we were getting a lot of our book adaptation into movies. Like
Yeah,
this is when we
yeah.
were getting like Hunger Games, Harry Potter's. I
The
mean, they were
Maze
coming out
Runner.
before The Maze
Yep.
Runner,
A lot of
Divergent,
young
things
adult
like that.
fiction. Mhm.
Yeah, and so this was just another one, but this is the only actual like romance one that we had. And
I like that. Mhm.
what does a preteen girl love more than anything? A hot romance between something that's not supposed to be romanticized.
It was the taboo nature of falling in love with a 118-year-old vampire or whatever
Oh,
it was.
absolutely.
I
Because
you know,
as an
that's
adult with a
yeah.
frontal lobe fully developed, you're like, dang, this is absolutely cringe. But as a as a preteen, male or female, or in between or otherwise,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
that romance is so spicy. 'Cause it's like, "Wait, what do you mean she's what do you mean Edward's moving away, and he's not gonna tell Bella? What do you mean he's running away? What's going on? Edward's on trial, he's gonna die, we gotta save him. Oh, no, now things are getting tense because Bella has feelings for Jacob too? Oh, no, now the girl has to choose between the 2 love interests, and it's like they're both pulling on her arm at the same time, and who's she gonna choose? Oh, no." It's literally just high school teen drama.
Yeah. I every so the first movie, right, fine. Every movie after that, I kept thinking this should have just been a TV show. I honestly, they would have benefited from not having 2 hours of runtime. If they could have done a 30-minute episode, I mean, they were cliffhangering every movie anyway.
Yeah.
Might as well have just shortened that and then actually made something like, oh, the fixing the bike episode where we set up. I mean, the whole second movie, oh, the whole second movie is
He's
one of
heated,
the
y'all.
worst ones. All right, because nothing happens. The first movie is fine, right? We're getting to find out about Edward. We're finding out about vampires. There's a lot actually happening in the first movie because there's a lot to talk about. There's a world to discover. At the end of the first movie, we've discovered the world. Every movie after that is like nothing is happening. I mean, the second movie, like you were saying, Edward goes away. He's like, I have to protect Bella from. Was she at the end of the first movie wants to be turned into a vampire? And Edward goes, no, this is
No.
a curse. Don't you understand how bad this is?" And she goes, "I don't care."
She romanticized becoming a vampire.
Yep.
I want you to know. I know you just watched all these movies. Their entire relationship, I believe, spanned only like 2 years, from the first movie to the end.
That is correct. I think she meets him when she's, like, 17, and then they
Yeah,
get married at 18, and,
and then for between that time period, I think they were only like physically together for like 2 months.
yeah. It's actually Bella is crazy. As a character,
Yeah,
she is out of her mind. First of all,
absolutely.
one of the only real characteristics they give her at the very beginning is that she's a vegan. I've never seen a bigger turnaround than I'm a vegan to I now can only consume flesh.
That was her tragic flaw. That's why.
With what part? The veganism? The
Yeah,
vegetarianism?
yeah.
Oh, god almighty. Like, I don't understand I don't understand what she was so connected with that and, because she plays it for so long, right, she just wants to become a vampire so that she could be with Edward forever.
Mhm.
In the I think it's the 3rd or the 4th movie, she goes, "Actually, it's not all about you. I've just felt out of place, and I feel like being a vampire would make me feel more like myself."
Lord.
It's like, "Okay, fair, but we're very quickly having Edward just gets bullied for 5 movies straight where he's like, "I really wanna eat you, but I'm trying to be a better person. I'm also, I guess, vegetarian." Or no, he's not human. He doesn't right, the Cullens, the Edward's family don't eat humans. They only eat animals,
Yeah.
which makes them less powerful
Good.
than other people. But, when vegetarianism and veganism is good, they're still villains. At least they should
Yeah.
have been in Bella's eyes. That's beside the point. That's a minor gripe out of all of this, okay? First movie, good. Second movie, awful. Nothing happens. I understand that the second movie is kind of just purely existing to set up Jacob as a love interest,
Yeah.
except that Bella never once gives him even a slight I mean, she's, like, hanging out with him mainly because she's trying to get back at Edward.
Yeah, again, high school. High school romance.
Yeah,
That
that
if you look at this and the guys of this, if you take out the fact that they are vampires and werewolves, and you just look at this as a high school drama, it's perfect.
yeah. Honestly, yeah, I've never seen vampires and werewolves wasted more. Well, I mean, you could barely even consider them werewolves because they're sort of more like
Dire
druids.
wolves.
Yeah, they're like active shifters. They can turn into wolves. But like they're like I said, there's cool ideas. The sort of the treaty between these two people, which never really gets explored. There's like a treaty where the werewolves, which is like a Native American tribe that's been living there forever and then encountered a vampire way back in the day. They I don't know, somehow ended up becoming like a treaty. I'm sure the books explore it more, but
Probably.
I couldn't sit through the books. I could barely sit through the movies. I took multiple breaks, right? I watched Twilight on the 14th. I watched the second movie on the 19th. Well, I went there's 4 more movies that I have to watch. So I have to stop. No, I actually waited a month. Oh my god, I did. Well, I was like, I don't really want to watch these, but I've started, and now
Mhm.
I need to go, right? And New Moon almost broke me. I almost quit because I was
That's the
supposed to
second one,
double
right?
feature. Yeah, it goes Twilight and then New Moon and then Eclipse and then Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2, right? And I was gonna double feature it. I was gonna do New Moon and Eclipse, and then the next day I was gonna do Breaking Dawn. And I watched New Moon, and I couldn't watch the second one because I almost turned New Moon off halfway through because nothing was happening. And I pushed through, and I'm glad I did because Eclipse is slightly better. Uh, that's wait. Uh,
Uh-huh.
oh right, yeah. But Eclipse was my breaking point because I wanted to watch all 5 movies before I went back. I didn't want to watch the movie and then go, well, these are questions that I have. I hope they answer them halfway through, right?
Yeah.
which that would be a different experience. I maybe could have done that, but I wanted to wait until the end so that I could do a full retrospective of all 5 movies. But by the time I got to it, I watched the clips, and my initial, the very first sentence of my review is that was me saying I wanted to wait until I'd seen all the films before writing my thoughts down, but I'm willing to admit that I am beaten and baffled by this plot.
Oh
Yeah, this
no.
is where I bring up the fact that this should have been a TV show, which ironically they're rebooting it as a TV show.
Yeah.
I don't know who the actors are, but I think Netflix is running it, so hopefully they do something there. And I need to talk about the Team Edward and Team Jacob thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a side?
I don't remember what my side was growing up. But I think I like the werewolves more, so I think I was Team Jacob.
Good. That is the right choice. Team Jacob is the correct choice here.
And also, like from a heritage and racial standpoint, they're just Native Americans living their lives, and the vampires are like, "Fuck you guys."
Yeah. I mean, the Cullens are. There's like, I mean, I guess most of them are good. The
And
guy in charge, whose name eludes me, but the head vampire is like a doctor. So he's actually a really good dude going around and like helping people out. Everybody else
yeah,
in the family is kind of, I don't know what they do. They're just like professional layabouts, more or less. But the head doctor, the head guy is a doctor. So good, he's helping the local populace. The rest of them are just, I mean, they kill, what is it, like a panther, not a panther, like a cougar, right?
yeah.
That's like an endangered species. That instead of killing the deer that the cougar is hunting, they kill the cougar and let the deer get away. They're crazy. And
They're
Bella
definitely
is the
different.
worst. Bella is just the worst possible. I don't understand. Who could write a character that crazy?
I think legitimately, because I think it since it was movies instead of TV shows, I feel like they probably cut out quite a bit, like you said, to focus on the romance aspect.
Hmm.
Because I feel
Yeah.
like in the books, there's a lot more explained. Because I also know another thing that they cut out, or I think I might be thinking of Hunger Games actually, but they definitely cut out a lot of like the internal dialogue or monologue, and I think
Oh,
that
I
might
bet.
have
Yeah.
helped explain a lot. Because I know they did that with the Hunger Games, and I know a
Mm.
lot of people were mad about it, but they were like, "Do you want to literally just sit here looking at a screen and hear Jennifer Lawrence like act like
Yeah.
an anime, act like it's fucking Death Note,
Yeah.
pretty
In
much."
comparison between the two, Hunger Games is far superior as an adaptation. Because
Yeah,
I definitely read the first book. I don't remember if I read all of them, but I think I did. And personally was never mad at them removing that stuff because I think they did the characters good enough justice. I do
yeah,
remember that argument of you lose so much of like her internal monologue. And yeah, sure. But it's a different format. You kind of can't rely on narration the entire time because otherwise you're listening to an ebook.
yeah. That's another series that did a that's that, but it did a good job at making the romance the B plot.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
her romance with Peeta and that whole thing. I know a lot of people were mad at her though, because she had what's his face at home the whole time, who clearly was in love with her best
Gale, I think
friend.
it was Gale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gale. I'm definitely team Gale. Fuck Peeta.
Yeah. See, look at this. There's romance in the Hunger Games too. And
Yeah,
probably, I don't know, even far less of a focus on the romance aspect, which is the right choice to make in that given situation.
absolutely.
If they had done Twilight where it was far less focused on just the romance side, this would be so cool because
Yeah.
the ideas that are here, right? The Volturi, this sort of overarching vampire society of elite people that they don't really even get into the entire time until Breaking Dawn, I think is sort of the first time you really, well, I guess you get to see them in the second movie because
Mhm.
Edward tries to go and get himself killed when he, oh God. The whole premise of the second movie is based on well, not the premise. The whole climax of the movie is based on a misunderstanding because
Yeah.
Edward leaves, like, right? He's like, I got to protect Bella. I don't want to turn her into a vampire, so I'm just gonna leave. I'm out of here. And then she spends the entire movie like thrill seeking because he just pops up for some reason,
Hmm.
like as a little ghost Edward going, please stop riding this motorcycle so fast. Please stop jumping off of things. And she's like,
And
this is
she's
the
like,
only way I can see you.
she's in her rebellious teen era.
Yep. And then eventually she hurls herself off of, like, she goes cliff diving, and one of the other people, one of the other Cullens, right? Edward's, I think, sister is she can see the future. They set up her
Alice.
seeing the future powers. Yes, Alice, where she was it not wasn't even really the future. It was sort of the present, where she saw Bella yeet herself off of the cliff, and then she told Edward about it, and Edward tried to go and kill himself because he thought that she had died, and that spawned
Wait
the
a
whole
minute.
ending. So it was
Wait a
just a
minute. Oh,
bad
hear me out. Hear me out. Hear
misunderstanding.
me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Right.
The whole second movie is Romeo and Juliet.
Literally, I mean, they at the start of the movie, I think she wakes up reading Romeo and Juliet.
So that's why she did that. It makes sense.
Right. Oh, you're right. That's just good storytelling.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah. It's an
wrong.
illusion.
That's bad. Just bad. Okay. Okay. But this could be worse, right? Let me just make sure that I have. So, okay, in the third movie, right? We gotta get through these. We gotta get through these. In the
Hmm.
third movie, right? So that was basically all that happened in the second movie was
This is all
Edward
about the
leaves.
second movie?
That was the second movie.
Oh
Edward
my
leaves.
god.
Bella tries to thrill seek, and then there's a mistake. Well, she tries to thrill seek by using Jacob to like help her build a
Yeah.
motorcycle that she rides like once and then never rides again, just so that she can thrill seek. Then she jumps off a cliff. There's a bit of a misunderstanding. Then she goes to, I think, Italy to stop Edward from revealing himself to human society and getting killed by the Volturi. That's the whole second movie. And it's like 2 hours of that. It's so right, nothing happens. Finally, we're getting to the third movie. The third movie is probably the second best, in my opinion.
Where are the parents?
Which parents? Whose parents?
Where's her
Bella's
dad
parents?
this whole time?
Her dad is he is a police officer, and he is sort of
An
so
absent
useless.
father.
He tries to be there for her, but she's constantly like, I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah. An absent father. I don't give a fuck.
I suppose. I mean, he is literally always there for her. I'm sure we could break that down. We might have to double
No,
back
it's
for that
definitely
one.
it's
Right?
definitely it's definitely again that rebellious teen attitude.
I blame Bella in every situation.
Oh,
People around
absolutely.
her, okay, I guess her friends, her high school friends, most of
Yeah,
them are kind
what
of
happened to
jerks.
them?
They're still there. They're still there being their regular judgy selves.
Mhm.
But in the third movie, we sort of there's a little bit more stuff going on. All right. So we got the setup for Alice's future sight powers, except that we're also establishing, I think we established at the end of the second movie that, oh, really, we established at the beginning of the first movie that Bella is immune to Edward's vampire powers, right? He can sort of
Mhm.
read minds. I think that's one of his powers. But Bella, he can't. And the meme there is because she just isn't thinking, but she actually is. We find out later that she's actually what's referred to as a shield. I think she's like the only shield to my knowledge, but there is supposedly
Yeah.
precedent for her being called a shield. Uh, but at any rate, right? So she's immune to like all vampire powers, except for Alice. Alice can see the future, right? I guess that's not a vampire power.
I guess not.
It's kind of weird. If at this point, right, this is just it seems like a plot hole, but I'm willing to go, okay, exception to the rule, right? She's immune to every vampire except for Alice's foresight, thought, seeing the future, because that's kind
Yeah.
of a unique power, right? Uh, I'm not really understanding that there's no way to kill a vampire, right? You kind of think of the regular stuff like sunlight or staking them in the heart. None of that really works. Yeah, they sparkle in the sunlight. That's a classic. That's a classic Twilight trope.
Yeah.
The only way that they really die is by getting ripped into pieces and burned. I don't know what's
Pretty
going on.
much.
They seem to be made of highly flammable diamonds, but I don't really understand. You'd have to just see it to understand what's going on here, right? I wanted to know if there were more magical creatures. If vampires and werewolves exist, what about like fairies? What about aliens? Right?
No.
Where's the rest of the hammer monsters in this zone? Where's the swamp thing? And I guess there just aren't. Vampires and werewolves is where the line gets drawn. I would have liked to see more.
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely, I agree.
And this was the question that I asked. This is the third movie, by the way. Why does Edward like Bella? Because of the way she smells? Because she's immune to his mind reading?
I think it's because she's immune to him, and it's like it turns into she's his muse for a while, and then I guess it turns into affection? Question mark.
I suppose so. I mean, I compared it to me hanging out with a walking, talking piece of beefsteak. It
Yeah,
smells really good. I can't read its mind.
it's
And
different from other girls.
I have to stop myself from eating it.
Yeah, and
But
Bella's
this
the whole time is
is
like, I can fix him.
Yep, yep. This is also where I
Bella,
don't
oh
explicitly
my
state
god.
that I am Team Jacob, but I say that I'm understanding Team Edward versus Team Jacob.
Yeah, Bella's just a pick me girl.
I think that is I think I've seen that said about her. Yeah.
She literally
They
is like, I can fix him. Edward, this isn't you. That's her.
yeah, you don't want to eat me. It's like I really, really do. And I'm having to hold myself back.
Well, then turn me into one of you, so then we can be together, Edward.
Exactly. I compared this whole movie to an episode of Rick and Morty. All right.
Oh no.
So in Rick and Morty they do a heist episode, right? In this heist
Uh-huh.
episode, Rick, the smartest person in the universe, um, him and his buddy, they go and they try and steal a priceless artifact, only to discover that it has already been stolen by somebody else, who is a very famous heist artist. Where it's sort of a big breakdown of the heist genre, where 20% of it is setting up the the heist, and then the other 80% of the movie is them revealing that they've already pulled it off and that the room has been empty the entire time.
Yeah.
But the climax to that episode is that they build a Heistatron, which is a robot who is capable of constructing the most complicated, elaborate heists of all time. In Twilight Eclipse,
Uh-huh. Back to Eclipse?
This is the third movie, right? This is the third movie. I haven't even gotten to the big climactic double episode finale, right? The third movie is a lot about this vampire who they killed her mate in the first movie. She was
Mhm.
plaguing them the entire second movie, but because nothing happens in that movie, she continues to just be a problem. So they finally it's all setting up for this third movie, right? Where Bryce Dallas, the actress that is playing the evil villainous uh, vampire whose mate got killed, is trying to bypass Alice's future sight ability by
Yeah.
pulling the strings behind the scene without ever actually committing to anything.
Mhm.
So they basically did exactly what Rick and Morty did, where the only way to prevent Heistatron, or Alice in this case, by seeing the direct future is by making seemingly random decisions using a series of puppets, all in order to facilitate a final fight where you can just go and kill Bella, because that's the only you have to create enough chaos around the person that can see the future that they
Yeah.
don't know what's going on, and you could just sneak through and kill her. And then it ends up not working out anyway, and they kill her anyway. So it's another one of those, nothing is really happening, but at least they're building an army and there's sort of tension brewing under the surface. The big problem that I have with this franchise is the lack of stakes. Nobody dies, nobody ever gets close to dying, and it only gets worse because there are two more movies, right? Breaking Dawn 1 and Breaking Dawn 2.
Yeah. What's wrong with
Breaking Dawn
those?
2 might be, I don't even know how you can possibly. Okay, I need to rewind slightly. Breaking Dawn 1 is the movie where Bella gets pregnant. And then the whole movie is her having a baby the entire time. Keep in mind, this is about werewolves and vampires.
Is
And
it?
we spend an entire movie about her having a vampire child and that vampire child slowly killing her.
Half vampire child.
You're right. Yeah. And it's technically not an immortal child, which is sort of the problem that they are trying to build up to in the second movie, the second part of this, which is a crime according to the Volturi, turning a child, which if you remember my review of oh gee oh my god, the one with Interview with a Vampire. They did that. They did the immortal child thing in Interview with a Vampire back in 1998. All right, they criminalized that in this one, and that's the whole movie is them just
Wait a minute. Hear me out.
uh-huh.
The reason why Edward didn't turn her the whole time is because he knows it's illegal.
Who knows what's illegal?
Because
Turning humans into
turning turning
vampires?
turning Bella into a vampire until she was 18.
Oh, because she would be underage. That would make a lot of sense. That would
Yeah.
unfortunately they didn't say that. Unfortunately, nobody thought about that. I only just thought about that right now when you said it.
Yep.
Stephanie Meyer, you need to rewrite these books.
You got some explaining to do.
Yep. No underage vampires. Technically, yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I like that makes a lot of sense, right? However, they don't do that in this. And the fourth movie, Breaking Dawn Part 1, let me just double check here. This starts with them on a honeymoon, right? Where they get pregnant and then she slowly becomes a skeleton while Jacob argues with his pack who are trying to kill the child.
Yeah.
That's the whole movie. Again,
You're
we're
talking
talking
my
about
daughter?
wait, well that happens at the beginning of the second. Well, it does happen at the end of this movie, but they don't have fallout for that until the beginning of the next movie. Like I said, this should have been a TV show. So little happens over the course of 2 hours of runtime that it's just like you're just trying to stay focused the entire time. I can't imagine anybody is so enraptured by this that they watch the entire thing without being on their phone. You
Yeah.
just have to watch this while being on your phone, which of
I
course
think
leads me to
uh-huh.
the very last movie.
Before you continue, I just want to
Mhm.
interject and say I think a big reason why it also gained so much popularity was because you had to wait for the next movie. It's like a TV show. They ramp up for the next episode for like a plot twist or something like that, and you have to sit and wait for another week to find out what happens next. But for the movies, you had to wait for a whole year. It's kind of like what happened with Avengers with Infinity War to Endgame. Everybody there was so much hype and tension around it because no one knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah. That
So
I mean they were releasing those around the same time. I think Avengers was 2012, wasn't it?
yeah,
20
I think
Yeah,
so.
the
Yeah,
Avengers was 2012. So they were releasing Iron Man 1 through the Avengers while this was also releasing. So you were getting both of these at the exact same time.
yeah,
However, and weirdly, they both feature big final climactic battles, more or less. I mean, it's sort of I would consider Breaking Dawn Part 2 to be closer to like Endgame.
yeah.
There are two giant armies that are going to fight each other. I don't care. I'm going to spoil this movie for everybody.
Hey, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! This is your only warning.
If you
Even if you've
haven't
already
seen
spoiled
this
everything
or
else.
haven't heard about this by now, you have been living under a rock. I remember hearing about this. Having watched it now, I remember the uproar because I watched it and I was mad. I haven't actually been mad about a movie in a really long time. It was sort of like I went through the stages of grief because this movie, okay, it's all building up to this big final climactic showdown between the Volturi, right, the overlord vampires, and the Cullens. And then the Cullens' friends, because they happen to know like 45 other vampires across the world, all over trying to like protect this child because they have criminalized, right?
Renegade.
Yes, they're trying to kill the child because the child is an immortal child, or they think it is, which is a crime. Not supposed to turn
Yeah,
children into vampires because they don't have a proper moral compass and they just kind of go rampant. They're building up to that this entire time. And there's a quote that I really liked from this movie, and it was It was Alice seeing the future, going, "Your child will be okay. Jacob is going to be okay because he's going to be taking care of her. All of us are going to have to die to keep this child alive." And I went, "Oh, thank you. That's good." There was the first time in 8+ hours that there had been any stakes at all. I
Mhm.
was so excited for these characters to actually die. I was like, this is going to be a big, maybe we are finally getting the Romeo and Juliet tragedy where all of our characters have to sacrifice something in order to for this for this child to survive. This is actually great.
And
And
then
they build up this entire movie for this big final fight, and then Alice shows back up. She leaves, right? She kind of leaves at the beginning of the movie, and well, she tells that everybody's gonna die, and then she leaves, and then she comes back at the end of the movie with sort of this other immortal child who is in the exact same situation as Renesmee, the daughter, the immortal
yeah,
child here.
retrograde.
Yeah, yep. And she shows up and then goes, "Hey, I can prove that this is all. Don't worry about it. Let's not have this be a problem. Here is the future." And she shows the lead guy the future, and then she goes, "Ah, well, actually, it doesn't matter what I show you. You're only here to like, this is all a farce anyway, so it doesn't matter what I show you." Then there's a big final fight, and it's all really cool, and people are dying. People are getting their heads ripped off. Somebody opens up a crack in the ground to lava. It's awesome. There's a cool big final fight. Then the final fight ends and it rewinds to the beginning, and it turns out that actually all of that was just
It was just a
the
vision.
image that she was showing to the dude. At that point,
Yeah.
I had to stop. I had to pause and walk away and come back because they might as well have just rewinded back to the first movie when Edward saves Bella from getting hit by the car. They should have
Mhm.
just had her wake up in the hospital and go, "Oh, it was all a dream."
Yeah, that's pretty much what they did.
They basically undid all of that. All of the like stakes that they had actually built where I was actually invested in this final fight going on, undid in a moment's notice where, oh, actually nobody has any problems except the two Dracula, like the descendants of Dracula or whatever those. There were these two dudes that showed up from Transylvania. We're like, we're not here to help you. We're here to kill the Volturi because they took over, they usurped our power. And which is like actually a cool plot point that I was so excited for them to explore. And then they have that big, hey, this is the final fight. Actually, the final fight didn't happen, and everybody goes their way peacefully. And then the two Draculas go, "You people are stupid. You're idiots. They're not going to give up at this point. They
But
have
the clones
seen
were like, just
this."
kidding.
Yeah, they've like seen your powers that they want on their side. They've seen this child who also has cool powers. They want your powers to be with them as well. They're just going peacefully because because she showed them a future where all of them are going to die. They're just going to go back into the shadows, replan, and then come back again. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason that they should have stopped at Breaking Dawn Part 2. There's still more plot going on here. The Volturi are going to come back. They have to come back at some point because they're vampires. They're immortal and they will never die. So at some point, you had to commit to the final battle. We just didn't get it then because I don't know, all's
Stephanie
well that
said,
ends well.
"Nah."
I just I you know, you got to give it when art makes you talk about it. You know that's generally considered a good thing.
Not in this
I
moment.
am just I'm mad. I was disappointed. I was in disbelief at when they did that twist. Not in a good way. In a, so you just wasted
All of our time.
10 hours of my life for nothing. Nobody. I mean, somebody should have died. The only people they ever killed were random humans, mainly off screen.
Yeah.
So take it from me. If you ever feel like watching the Twilight Saga and you haven't already, save yourself the time and effort and go watch an actually good vampire piece of content, which I have some stuff for you. Blade is way cooler. You get to
I need to watch
watch
Blade.
such awesome action sequences. Interview with a Vampire does romance way better than Twilight does. I mean, ah, it just makes me mad. It makes me mad because it wouldn't be so bad if so many people didn't like it so much.
Yeah.
I understand that a certain demographic of people this kind of stuff appeals to, but it's oh, I didn't even
Uh-oh.
talk about the baby. I didn't
Yeah.
talk about the horrible
You mean the
CGI
whole
baby
reason why?
monstrosity that
Yeah.
is that plagues the better part of 2 movies. Okay, there's a video. There's a video out there.
In their defense, when did this movie come out?
2012, 2011. Again, they would have benefited from a slower production rate, not making 5 movies in 5 years. If they had done 5 movies in 10 years, they could have reinvested the money that the first Twilight made into the technology for the next 4 movies, and we wouldn't have had to deal with this baby.
Monstrosity?
Yeah, that was total. It was like a regular baby, except they CGI'd the face. I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if the baby
why.
just couldn't act or something, but oh, yeah, there's a YouTube video that I couldn't stop thinking about. It's basically utilizing, I think, what's called face swap, which is like an app where it swaps 2 humans' faces with each other, right? Kind
Mm.
of goofy, kind of weird, not really any point to it, but there's a very specific video where it's a dad holding his baby and the faces swap, and it's him singing, "I had the time of my life, and I owe it all to you." It's the most stupid video of all time that makes me crack up every time I see it. And every time that baby was on screen in this movie,
That's what you thought of?
all I could see, all
Oh
I could see was they
no.
clearly face swapped somebody and like de-aged. I don't know what they did, but it's unbelievable. I thought they're like, I'm usually able to look at, when I see a movie and I go, that CGI, that stuff is a little bit wonky,
Yeah.
but it's fun. It doesn't take away from anything too bad. This took away. It takes you out of the scene. Seeing that baby there just is freaky.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's freaky. But I think that
Yeah.
probably concludes my rant about the Twilight franchise. I beg of you, don't watch these movies.
You should totally watch it and give us your critiques in the comments.
Yeah, that's I on the second thought, let us
I
know if you
challenge
are
you
Team
to watch the
Jacob.
movies
Mm-hmm.
and challenge John's thought process.
Yeah, I need somebody to explain to me what makes these movies good. Because if the CGI is not good, if the stories aren't really that good, I mean, the only thing that I could see people getting out of it, I actually personally, the first movie, thought was pretty good. The original Twilight is great, but it goes down fast.
Mhm.
Even though there are some real awkward like the falling in love sequences in the first movie are a little bit goofy. It's acceptable. It's understandable. It's like if you watch a classic movie and then you watch the reboot, the soulless cash grab follow-ups that they make for
Shrek
that
5?
yeah, sure. It's just
Kung Fu Panda 4?
I would apologize to the people that actually like these, but I'm sorry, you don't deserve my apology.
I
Y-
will see my final thoughts, and it's simply this. This was very clearly written for young adults, like teens, young
Sure.
teens specifically.
Yeah.
And you can tell that it was written for young teens because I want you to think, and this isn't me trying to like attack your critique at all. It's not. This is me just being like, this is exactly how it was written. Imagine you're online and you're reading a fan fiction written
Uh-huh.
by a teenager. That's what these movies are.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why everything is so all over the place and out of whack and doesn't like follow up. Because it's like, oh, that's why they fall in love so fast. That's why there's all this useless drama. That's why we have all these things that are brought up and then never talked about again.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the dad's nowhere around.
Yeah, they do have you want to think the entire series of movies that the mom and the dad, who I think are divorced, are going to get back together. They sort of set that up and then ignore that for the better part of 3 movies, and
I don't even
then
remember the mom.
she is, like, living in Florida with some other dude. She might, like, not even be there. The only scene I think she has is before Bella gets married. She goes over and, like, gets a gift of a quilt.
Hmm.
That's it.
I
That's the
think
only
what
thing I
happens
remember.
is, I think so what happened is this set up the plot for so many different plot lines. A lot of B and C, even D plots. But then as it gained more popularity, it was like, huh, well, this is a romance novel, so let's just focus only on that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope the books are different than the movies,
I
because the
hope so. They
movies
probably
are,
are.
I have to imagine that they lost a lot in translation, even though Stephanie Meyer produced, I don't know if she produced all of them, but she definitely produced the last 2, and those
Yeah.
were objectively the worst.
It's definitely, I feel like it's gotta be as big of a difference as did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Dumbledore asked calmly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
boy, oh
so
boy.
funny. I think my favorite thing that's come out of the Twilight series, though, is that even the fan base themselves refuse to refer to Bella's daughter as her real name, and so they'll just throw in a random long R-lettered word. So, like, that's why I said, "Oh yeah, I remember retrograde. Yeah, I love renegade. I can't believe Jacob imprinted on recruitment over there. That's kind of crazy." But like everybody just
Oh my
refuses to say
god.
her name.
Yeah, I think Jacob referred to her as Nessie, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay, that's actually,
named after the Loch Ness monster.
mhm."
Yeah,
That was the
that one
only
was.
thing from the 4th movie that actually felt like it had any weight to it, was
Yeah,
him imprinting on her, and then they immediately solved the problem at the beginning of the 1st movie with no problem.
yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there's no stakes in these movies. If you wanna put it on in the background for 10 hours, just watch Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is about that long, and it actually has, I mean, multiple battles.
Multiple battles, a lot of fantastical creatures,
Yep.
good story.
You get to talk with trees, you get to talk with wizards.
I need to
You
go
don't
back and
only
rewatch
get
those eventually.
vampires. I mean, ugh.
What was I gonna say to you? Before we go, I have an update on the story I've been writing for anybody who's really cares. It's done. I finished writing it, at least the first draft of it.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, okay.
but I think this is gonna be one that I'm after the last episode of the other podcast of mine, the podcast, listen to them all streaming platforms. Um, what's it called? Because I had to ask a question that was, what is holding you back from your full potential? Why do you keep letting it? And they all got very, very psychological with me. And
Okay.
then they were all just like, yeah, I think this is why this and this and that. And like, you're looking at it this way, but the way I look at it is this. And so I was like, you know what? I didn't think about that. They shared different perspectives.
Okay.
And so now I'm feeling a little bit more confident in my abilities. And because like my biggest thing is once I finish a project, it just gets lost in the vault.
Right. Yeah.
But my friends were basically saying like, "Hey, you should publish this book, not so you could be like, hey, buy my book, maybe make money off of it, but just so you can have a physical copy and be like, I did that, I achieved that. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to publish a couple books this year.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. But I'll keep you updated on that. Also, fuck dental care. That's all I gotta say.
Oh,
Bye.
yeah, that's right. Yo, bye, everybody.